Hey there, everybody, and welcome back. For those of you that are looking to switch over to a new phone carrier and aren't quite sure what is the best unlimited plan for you or unlimited option, stay tuned. Hopefully we'll uncover the best option for you by the end of this video. So jumping straight in, there are two things to note before we get started. Both will be of benefit for you to know, so I wouldn't recommend skipping this part. First is almost all of these, if not all, are going to be MVNOs. That stands for Mobile Virtual Network Operator. That basically means that these are piggybacking off of other service providers. In the case of Visible, who's getting a lot of steam recently, they are powered by Verizon's 5G network. So one thing you're going to note here is if you have Visible and a friend of yours has Verizon and you're at a sporting event, for example, and you notice that both of you have full bars of 5G, and then all of a sudden your data download speeds are just drastically reduced and theirs are not, that's because Verizon is prioritizing their customers. So there's something called deprioritization, which means if there's heavy network usage, Verizon customers come first and then all of the other companies next. So basically, Visible is purchasing the excess capacity from Verizon, but that does mean that throughout the day, your speeds could randomly be reduced depending on the network traffic in your area. So I'd highly recommend testing out whatever of these services you get at times that you plan to use your device heavily, just to see what that prioritization or deprioritization looks like. Next up, and the only other thing to cover, coverage maps are huge here. So don't just go off of pricing alone. Put your zip code into their websites. Make sure that you're able to figure out if you actually get good coverage in your area first before you start paying for something that does you no good. Now, we can go ahead and jump into the video. So don't forget, as always, like and subscribe and check out the channel for new content and drop any questions, comments, or concerns you have below. Now, we'll start with Visible. This is a pretty quick option to discuss. They only have one plan. So you get one line of service, unlimited data, Wi-Fi calling on compatible devices, unlimited minutes and text, 5 megabits a second Wi-Fi hotspot, and calling and texting to Canada and Mexico. Most of these plans are going to have some kind of changes or limitations to hotspots, so you can't just use your device as a router and download hundreds of gigs of data. Now, when it comes to this mobile hotspot, 5 megabits a second is probably going to be sufficient for basic Zoom calls and work from home. However, if you're looking to stream from multiple devices, super high quality video, or do some intense gaming, this probably will not be sufficient. Now, they do have the party pay option. So you'll see as you add members or add lines, it reduces the bill by $5, which caps at $25 a month for 4+ people. Now, the cool thing about this, when I was doing some research, this is billed essentially separately. So you don't have one central bill that everyone's kind of pitching into. Everyone can get their bills separately. At least at the time of filming this video, that was an option. Now, next up, we'll cover Xfinity Mobile. Now, you're not going to see as many details about calling and texting here, but you can dig more into their information if you're interested. So they have a very similar pricing model. One line is $45 a month for your unlimited data, and you'll see reduced speeds after 20 gigs. And then as you add lines, it drops to $30 a month per line for 4 lines, and that's kind of where it's going to cap. And then you can scroll down and see you have the freedom to switch. So if you want, you can go buy the gig if you're interested. So quite a few different options there. Next up, we have one you may not have heard of just yet, which is Ting Mobile. So you'll see we have a couple of options here. So all data plans include limited talk and text, 5G data allotment. You have your 2G speed after fast data allotment, mobile hotspot, and no data overage charges. So we will just cover the unlimited plans here. We have two. The first one is $45 a month with a 22 gig fast data allotment, unlimited data, talk, and text, nationwide LTE and 5G coverage, up to 12 gigs of hotspot. And then Unlimited Pro, which is $55 a month, 35 gigs of fast data, which is a higher fast data allotment than what we've seen previously. And then Unlimited Talk, Text, 5G coverage, and 18 gigs of hotspot. So this is probably going to be the best option for heavy data users here. And then you'll see that you get unlimited 2G speeds for the remainder of the month when you exceed your data allotment, but there is a top-up, and that top-up carries over to the next month. Next up, we have Metro by T-Mobile, obviously piggybacking off of T-Mobile's towers. So here you have a $50 a month unlimited plan, which has unlimited high-speed data. And then you'll see the same option here, and you will have this little info option. So you'll see stream your favorite entertainment with high-speed data at no extra charge. Really not a whole lot of detail there. But you have access to T-Mobile's 5G network, which is very solid, and they've been building that out. So between the two unlimited plans, the primary difference is for the middle tier, you get 5 gigs of hotspot data. For the higher tier, you get 15 gigs of hotspot data. Both include 100 gigs of Google One membership, and Amazon Prime is included with the highest tier. So basically, this boils down to, do you plan on using mobile hotspot a lot? If so, then I would highly recommend going with the higher unlimited plan. Next up, we have Reach Mobile. So this is essentially going to be your wireless carrier for a cause. So we'll just take a 20-second detour to go over the Give Back program. Basically, the reason you would switch to Reach is primarily because they're a socially conscious mobile service that empowers women in other areas. So they're essentially helping women in other countries to get connected with mobile service, which can help in a variety of ways. You can check out this section on their website to learn more about how that works. And we will go ahead and jump into their plans. So I switched over to Reach recently. I have a video on why I switched in my channel. If you want, you can check that out. But you'll see we're basically just covering their unlimited plan here. Although it's important to note that they have a really interesting model here. So if you're on their 12 gig plan and you have best fit, and let's just say 1 month you only use 8 gigs, you'll only be charged for the 8 gig plan. So it basically is a dynamic pricing model that allows you to pay between these plans for what you're actually using, so it can actually save you money. And then you have your all-in unlimited plan. So for $65 a month, they piggyback off of Verizon's towers. When I talked to their customer success team a while back, they said they did not have 5G, but they were working on it. I'm based out of Denver, and I have seen that I have some 5G connectivity while using Reach Mobile. So it looks like that's going to be coming relatively soon. Now, to note here, you get 20 gigs. After 20 gigs, you get unlimited 2G speeds, $65 per month, unlimited talk and text, and then you get your hotspot enabled, international services, up to 4 lines, HD streaming, and you can keep your number. So they have a ton of really cool options. So if you're interested, you can see all the different options that they have here. But again, the idea here is there's a social good to this. Next up is another one you may not have heard of just yet, and that is Patriot Mobile. So one thing to note is when you go to see details on some of these plans, I'm seeing 4G LTE. I'm not seeing 5G yet. So if that's something that is necessary for you, this may not potentially provide that, and I don't know if or when that's going to be an option for them. One thing to note about Patriot Mobile, so when you click on Patriot Mobile's option or the logo, you'll see it's an America's only Christian conservative wireless company. So that's just one thing to note. So as someone who's religious myself, I can definitely appreciate the fact that they're open about that. Now we'll go to details. So you'll see you have unlimited minutes and text, 22 gigs of 4G LTE speed, unlimited data at reduced speed, Wi-Fi calling, and then you have your mobile hotspot and data roaming options here. So this is a pricier plan, or I would say middle of the pricing as far as what we've covered up until now. If 5G is make or break it for you, you would definitely need to kind of look into their coverage maps and figure out what kind of speeds you can get. Then lastly, we have Google Fi. So Google Fi has 3 options: a flexible option with the pay-as-you-go, paying per gig, unlimited, and unlimited plus. So we will scroll through adding different numbers of lines so that you can figure out what may be best for you. But just looking at a single line, we're going to compare the top 2. So Simply Unlimited, the primary difference is for the Simply Unlimited, there is going to be no hotspot or no tethering. And then the Unlimited Plus, you do get tethering. You're still going to have the data slower after 22 gigs of usage. So really the big differentiation here is going to be the international data, the international text and calls while traveling, and then you'll see there's some differences in their affordable calls from the US to 200 plus destinations. So the primary differences are going to be everything listed in this section here, and that high-speed hotspot tethering not being included on their $60 a month plan. So this unlimited plan that has tethering is Google Fi's most expensive option, which is also the most expensive option from everything that we've covered up until now. One thing to note, I had Google Fi as well. Coverage was pretty solid, and since they're using multiple carriers, this could also mean that you have a better coverage option. So I had some pretty solid data speeds or data usage when I was with them. If it's something that you want to consider, again, one of the pricier options, but when it comes to coverage, good coverage often can really kind of help a little bit more than really fast data speeds, but not the best coverage area. So that pretty much covers these plans. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below. Otherwise, I will see you all in the next video.